Historians since concluded that Ireland continued to export large quantities of food, primarily to Great Britain, during the Blight. In cases such as livestock and butter, research suggests that exports may have actually increased during the potato famine. Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start off by saying this. This has nothing to do about any other country, any other nation. This has everything to do about government, their policies, and how their policies affect us, we the people. The U.S. natural gas price spikes above $8 for the first time in over 12 years, as liquid natural gas exports save Europe. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here in the United States, all right, like I said, this has nothing to do with any other country. I've always stood fast by the fact that you need to take care of your house first. There is not one person in the United States, in my opinion, that really, behind closed doors, considers themselves more of a patriot because they and their countrymen are sacrificing for another country. Being a patriot is when you sacrifice for your country, not for other countries, ladies and gentlemen. And any other country that may fall within this predicament, I would agree that you're a patriot to your nation if you want to make sure that the people of your nation are taken care of first. However, here in the United States, we have fallen so far behind other nations in the production of things that we need that now we have no choice but to put that burden upon our people. Or at least the politicians have no choice but to put that burden upon us, we the people, because they have failed at their jobs. U.S. natural gas prices surged to the highest level in 13 years on a confluence of factors, including shrinking inventory levels, strong exports demand to Europe, and cooler temperatures. Ladies and gentlemen, if you are running out of food, or if you didn't have enough food to get you through the winter, right, in your stockpile, would you give away food to someone else if you knew that your family was going to go without? Well, AP, this is just natural gas. It's just the prices going up. Yes, the prices going up create a situation for people that cannot already afford the current prices to have to go without. So the government is choosing to export our natural gas, even though we here, people here in the United States, are having to pay more for the natural gas that they already use and then go without other things that they otherwise would have been able to afford. This convinces me, ladies and gentlemen, this convinces me that when we do go into a physical scarcity of food, when we do go into a food shortage, that is a physical food shortage here in the United States, our government will do to us just like they did to Ireland during the potato famine. They will export food out of this country even as Americans starve. Trust me, ladies and gentlemen, they've already got this plan. They've already got contracts written up where other countries are going to be getting our grain. And it doesn't matter how good or bad our harvests are. So you better be preparing. Futures rose to $8.05 per million British thermal units during Asian trading, about double since the beginning of this year. Double. Do you think that there is maybe some other things that people would like to buy with their money instead of paying double for natural gas prices, like food, like gas, which has doubled as well pretty much in the last year and a half? This is very upsetting because this proves to me that our government is not in it for us. I already knew this. But if this doesn't prove it to you, then go back to sleep. There is no saving you. May God bless you. And I mean it. I hope you make it. Because if you're not stocking up, if you're not getting those things that you need now, that you know you're going to need in the next couple of years, you are doomed. And that's all there's to it. Here I sit thinking to myself, is it divine intervention that I decided last year to get an additional year of heating fuel at last year's prices, whereas today I literally would have had to pay more than twice what I paid for it last year. But the thing is this, I should be happy about that. And I'm happy that I did that. I'm glad that I did that for me and my family. But the thing that upsets me is this, is that many people didn't. Many people have to fill up their tanks month over month. And now people are probably hoping and wishing to the good Lord above that come summer there will be some kind of relief at the gas pump and at the heating fuel pump so that they can maybe load up for next winter before prices go even higher. And here they continue to say, Goldman Sachs wrote to clients on Monday that the spread between US and EU Asia prices is beginning to narrow due to supply constraints. And look at that, ladies and gentlemen, during a time in our history where we need these fuels the most, they are producing the lesser amount. Why? Because we want to save the earth. Well, guess what? We're going to save the earth. It's just there ain't going to be nobody on it to enjoy it. So congratulations. Are you serious? Do you really think that us humans can destroy the earth? Wake up, ladies and gentlemen. Wake up. Everything that you use, everything that is in your life, everything is because of energy. Everything is, of one form or another. Well, they're taking away our grains, they're taking away our meats, they're taking away our dairy, they're taking away our chicken. Might as well take away our fuel too. I mean, I guess we won't need it, because if we're starving to death, we won't need the fuel either. Inventory woes also come as U.S. exports every molecule of liquid natural gas possible to help Europe reduce its reliance on Russian energy supplies. And as I've always stated and will always stand by, the fact that sanctions never hurt the politicians that put them in place. They only hurt the people, you and me. And I'll finish it off with the last two short paragraphs here. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine and Western sanctions crippling Russia energy exports will further reduce the world's natural gas supplies and continue pressuring prices higher. Based on soaring commodity prices, trends towards protectionism are rising, and it wouldn't surprise us if Americans demand a very similar approach as the rush to resupply Europe with energy products backfires. Well, ladies and gentlemen, of course it's going to backfire. They did not think this through. They did not think this through. That is, if they wanted to be successful. If they wanted to be successful, they did not think this through. If they thought it through as far as having a strategy that would hurt us the most, then they're doing a great job. Now, I want to read you a short essay on the Irish potato famine. All right? That way you can understand where I'm coming from. That when you decide as a government not to take care of your people by just doing common sense stuff, that millions of people die, ladies and gentlemen. And I see that happening here. I have no confidence that our government will take care of us when the time really comes. And by take care of us, I don't mean feed us. I mean just do common sense things like, hey, we only have enough grain right now to feed us for the next 6 months to a year. So let's not export anymore. Imagine that. Common sense. The Irish potato famine, also known as the Great Hunger, began in 1845 when a fungus-like organism called, that name right there, the infestation ruined up to half of the potato crop that year and about 3/4 of the crop over the next 7 years. And because the tenant farmers of Ireland at that time relied on potato as a main source of food, the infestation had catastrophic impact on Ireland and its population. Before it ended in 1852, the potato famine resulted in the death of roughly 1 million Irish from starvation and related causes, with at least another million to leave their homeland as refugees. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to read this whole thing, but I will leave it in a pinned comment so you can come back and read it, because it is a very good read. It will really teach you that governments don't care about you. Governments are the same no matter where you go. They have one thing in common, and that is their preservation. Right? That is their continuity. That is one thing that every single government has, ladies and gentlemen, and that is their continuity, that they get to stay in power no matter what. All right? There are no shelters for you. Your name is not on a list so that you can go to a shelter in case bad things happen. The Great Hunger begins when the crops began to fail in 1845 as a result of this infestation. Irish leaders in Dublin petitioned Queen Victoria and Parliament to act, and initially they did, repealing the so-called Corn Laws and their tariffs on grain, which made food such as corn and bread prohibitively expensive. Still, these changes failed to offset the growing problem of the potato blight. With many tenant farmers unable to produce significant food for their own consumption and the cost of other supplies rising, thousands died from starvation and hundreds of thousands more from disease caused by malnutrition. Complicating matters further, historians have since concluded was that Ireland continued to export large quantities of food. And it doesn't matter to who. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it doesn't matter who they exported it to. What matters is that their government decided to continue to export food even though people were starving. And it will happen again. So are you prepared? Are you going to stand there and watch your children suffer and starve one day because you didn't take a few minutes now, you didn't cancel your $300 a month data plan, you decided to buy your $1,500 iPhone instead of going out and putting up some preps so that this does not happen to you? History does repeat itself. It doesn't always rhyme, like they said, it's never exactly the same, but it does repeat itself. There are people starving in the world right now. Why is it that you think that only because you're not one of them that it can't happen to you? In 1847 alone, records indicate that commodities such as peas, beans, rabbits, fish, and honey continued to be exported from Ireland, even as the Great Hunger ravaged the countryside. The potato crops didn't fully recover until 1852. By then, the damage was done. Although estimates vary, it is believed as many as 1 Irishman and women and children perished during the famine, and another 1 million were displaced. And most of them came here to North America. The exact role of the British government in the potato famine and its aftermath, whether it ignored the plight of Ireland's poor out of malice or if their collective inaction and inadequate response could be attributed to the incompetence, is still being debated. However, the significance of the potato famine and its contribution to the Irish diaspora of the 19th and 20th century is beyond doubt. And here in 1997, Tony Blair, during his time as Prime Minister, issued a statement offering a formal apology to Ireland for the UK government's handling of the crisis at that time. Politicians are great at saying, I'm sorry, 100 years later. You want to call me a crazy old conspiracy theorist? Right? I heard kind of a joke the other day. And someone said, what's the difference between a conspiracy theory and truth? And they said the answer is like about 6 months. Just look back to the last 2.5 years. And look back to the things that they were calling conspiracies back then. And then look to how they're talking about them now. Having said that, I hope you have a great day. I hope you're stocking up. Don't stop stocking up. Ladies and gentlemen, don't stop. Because we will need our preps. And that's all there's to it. God bless you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I understand that not everyone is in the part of their preparedness plan where they should be storing long-term freeze-dried food. But if you are, take a look at nutrient survival. I stand behind this food because it is the most nutrient-dense food in the market. It tastes great, they have outstanding customer service, and the company is run by great people that I call my friends. You're not going to find a more nutrient-dense food that tastes good and is reasonably priced when compared to other major brands. I wouldn't stand behind nutrient survival if I didn't personally use it and love it. So feed your freedom with nutrient survival.